Jack takes a radical step and, spoiler, admits that he's falling in love. In today's episode of The Young and the Restless, during their therapy session, Chelsea and Chance talk about Abby expresses concern to Nick about the mental health of her spouse, while Allie receives romantic guidance from Tracy. Adam comes to Jack's office at Jabot and says he no longer wants to be co-CEO. Jack is overjoyed to have him aboard and enthusiastically shakes his hand. After discussing the finer points, they decide to begin tomorrow. Adam is concerned about the reactions of the other Abbotts and doesn't want to make things tough for him. Jack reassures him that he has convinced the vast majority of them to change their minds. Instead of focusing on Victor, he encourages him to find other things to do. When Billy walks in, he wants to get a drink with his sibling. He figures out what's going on right away. Billy says, "You're really going to do this, are you not?" Jack points out that he is the one making the call. According to Adam, no contracts have been signed. That's a done deal as far as Jack is concerned. When Billy and Adam exit into the hall, they step out. Billy tells him he will be keeping a close eye on him. His father built this corporation, and Adam has a habit of ruining everything he touches. If the company can weather Billy, Adam reasons, it can weather anything. Jack emerges and offers they have a drink to celebrate. Jack and Adam abandon Billy when he opts to get a root canal instead. Abby mentions that they celebrated Dominic's birthday with a party to Nick at Society. What he doesn't understand is why he wasn't invited. When things settle down, she'll throw a grander celebration. If she thinks their family dynamic will improve, he thinks she's nuts. Abby opens up to Nick about her concerns for him after they have a drink together, saying that she has been thinking about him since Locke's death. He insists he's well, but recognizes that he's carrying the weight of his actions. She believes his actions were appropriate given that he is a decent human being placed in an awful circumstance. A part of her wishes Ashland would stop torturing them from beyond the grave. Nick observes that their dad doesn't seem particularly tortured. She reveals to him that Chance is also having trouble. She sees honor in his loyalty to the family, while Chance continues to sense a potential conflict of interest. She knows he did the right thing, but he can't shake the feeling that he done something wrong. Nick recommends that she stop bringing it up and just let it go. She is concerned about the consequences for their dad if Chance can't quit. Her brother hugs her and tells her she shouldn't let this issue come between her and her spouse, so that he can give them to Christian. Abby goes and gets him some shortbread cookies. They discuss how he must be quite busy with their sister's career. Adam has been hired by Jabot and Jack, and he walk in to announce the news. Both Abby and Nick look at each other in alarm. "That's some news," Abby says. As for Adam and Jack, they are amped about it. In light of his son's recent switch to Marchetti, Jack feels this is a fantastic strategy. Initially hesitant, Adam eventually saw the value in it. Nick says that working for Newman Media would have given him more freedom. Neither Adam nor Jack are convinced that anyone working for Victor has much independence. Nick shakes his head, assuming that resentment is what motivated Adam. Chelsea, lonely and homesick, calls Connor from the GCAC roof to tell him how much she misses him. As she hangs up, she starts to choke up. Random visitor observes her distress and comes to her aid. When Chelsea is experiencing something, she often has trouble keeping it to herself. Since the person he was expecting hasn't arrived yet, he decides to keep her company. They talk about how they were both forced to go to treatment. Having gone, he's happy he went. It's not always the case that your expectations are met, but there are some situations in which the norms seem to be disregarded. You have the choice of getting worked up about it or accepting it and looking for ways out of it. Chelsea feels that she keeps taking steps in the wrong direction because of her choices. Whenever Chance lacks confidence in himself, he searches for a turning point. These are typically provided by his kid. It's the same with her too. She admires how honest he is about his difficulties. When the police officer sees his informant has arrived, he leaves. When Chance's meeting is over, he'll pop by to say goodbye to Chelsea. She asks him numerous probing questions about the conference. He's at a loss for words, but he does confirm that this is the day he'll officially shut all of Ray's cases. Incredible, she begins to cry. They both feel the loss of Ray. When Chelsea gets back to her hotel room, she sits on the bed and begins to cry. The Abbott household begins with Noah and Ally still in bed. He suppresses the urge to make a corny chemical joke. She's come around to his terrible jokes. Eventually, she threatens to tickle it out of him when he still denies knowing it. They play around and then settle in for some lounging. Maybe his last romance ended because of his puns, she thinks to herself. It's not in his character to speak ill of his ex-girlfriend. Ally isn't confused, but she is curious as to what transpired that made him so easily accessible. In his last relationship, he often felt confused. How she would respond was always a mystery to him. It was a constant game of bluff, and it got to the point where he had to watch his step like he was on eggshells. Although he initially believed in love for her, he now realizes that their relationship was poisonous. Because of the awkwardness, Ally hasn't dated many males. He assures her that the future has much more promise than the past. They have an embarrassing run-in with Tracy when they fall down the stairs. And with that, Noah jets out, leaving the ladies to their laughter. Tracy reassures Ally that there is nothing to be ashamed about. After all the strenuous activities she's convinced Ally must have been engaged in, she prepares a snack. She's thrilled that their friendship has progressed into something more romantic between them and Noah. Ally just can't seem to hide her grin. She's concerned that the wonderful news might be too good to be true. Perhaps she needs to learn self-control and be more wary. Tracy tells her to soak up every second of the euphoria since she won't feel this way again for a long time. For most people, this leads to a more in-depth discussion. She has had a rough year and deserves a positive counterbalance. When she's with Noah, Ally knows she'll be secure and that they'll never get bored. Do not persuade yourself out of feeling something magnificent, Tracy says. Enjoy it for what it is. Everything is clear to Ally now. She's allowing herself to feel joy. Ally's history of bad relationships is a topic of conversation. As far as young men go, Noah has Tracy's highest praise. There is a celebratory toast. After resolving all of Ray's cases, Chance pays a visit to Crimson Lights to update Sharon on his progress. He has her gratitude. Her late husband's work was a labor of love, and he felt privileged to see it through to completion. Sharon gushes about his integrity and claims that even Rhea admires him. Chance is now doubtful. They go down in a seat and start talking about Ray's fixation on pencils, but Nick interrupts and requests to speak with the investigator privately. After Sharon leaves, Nick informs Chance that Adam has changed his mind and reported for duty with Jack. Adam might need a fresh start. A Chance thinks so. Nick tells him Abby is getting quite worried and is making assumptions. That's why she's so concerned. He must try to calm her nerves. Chance appreciates the heads-up he's provided. Noah walks in on Nick and Sharon having a conversation and confesses that he's falling in love. Chance occurs away from the confines of society. His wife walks out when she sees him looking out the window. He apologizes for his prior behavior and says he would never again neglect the significance of their family. As a sign of her forgiveness, she kisses him. After bringing Adam back to his office, Jack realizes that legal hasn't sent up the contract yet, delaying the signing ceremony. Adam looks around the office, including at the CEO chair, before he heads up to get it.